Expedition Suburbia.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second ever Expedition Surburbia podcast, where today we're going to be talking about something that's neither near or dear to either of our hearts.
Star Wars.
Oh boy, do I love Star Wars.
Not anymore.
That's right. Today we're going to be talking about mainly our gripes with Star Wars.
The current state of Star Wars is a really bleak and depressing place, void of creativity, excitement, and the only people really that like it anymore are the really diehard loyalists. What's the matter?
Get closer.
Yeah, Star Wars kind of sucks now, if you haven't heard us bitch about it for the past 20 seconds. First, before we dive into what we think about it, I'm going to give you my experience with Star Wars, just to show how big of a fan I am of
Star Wars, it's really upsetting, even thinking about it to this day, now.
When we were kids, every fucking toy that you got, like, was pretty much a Star Wars toy.
I remember going to the barber and my dad coming down, and Dad just came down. He's like, yeah, son, if you go through the barber. And I was terrified. I was like 3 years old. Didn't want to go to the barber. I even let the lady, I cut her hand one time when she was cutting my hair. Aside from the point, though, what happened was my dad would always give me like a reward, like a Star Wars toy as a reward.
And you got a bunch of Star Wars toys.
Pretty much. That was the toy.
But when I was growing up, the prequels were coming out. I mean, you were still kind of little when they were coming out.
Yeah.
But to me, Star Wars wasn't just the original trilogy like it was to my father. It was the original trilogy and the prequels, because I grew up with it, and I saw them as the same things. It wasn't until I got older that I really began to see the huge difference, how better the original trilogy was. And it's weird because I always liked Star Wars. I always liked it, but I was always into other media too.
I mean, that was mainly because our dad,
Well, I liked Marvel, but I wasn't obsessed, and I never understood why my dad was obsessed with it. And then as I grew older and I started studying film, I started looking at those original movies, and I'm like, they are the greatest things ever. Just the original trilogy is just so good.
Even from the 70s, there's very few things that you could say that are dated from them. The only gripes that you could possibly have about the original trilogies with them not holding up, which it's going to be very rare, of course, now,
I guess,
with the special editions coming out.
Oh, God.
It's going to be extremely rare to find the raw, uncut versions of Star Wars, but there are certain effects that don't hold up, such as, like, the doors opening, which is obviously digital, the early lightsabers.
I think a lot of them still, the majority of them
majority definitely do.
But, so, and as I grew, older and angstier, I'm like, the prequels suck, I hate the prequels. And then it's kind of weird because now when the new movies are out, even though the prequels are shitty, I'm actually starting to appreciate the prequels again. Mm-hmm. Even though they're really bad films, they had a lot of creativity and thought that went into them. But we're not here to talk about the prequels. We're not here to talk about the original trilogy.
Yeah, I mean, I could talk about hating the prequels
we could talk,
as much as anyone.
We could do a 10-hour Star Wars podcast.
Yeah.
I'm sure people have. I'm sure there's hundreds of podcasts just dedicated to Star Wars. But, prequels came out and they sucked. And all the hardcore fans of Star Wars... Well, actually, when they came out, I think most of the people who saw them were... They either liked them or they were indifferent. It wasn't until the Red Letter Media videos started coming out. And yet... I think that Mike Stacklasa deserves a lot of credit because those videos.
Oh, they definitely.
Even
Disney
though their videos,
definitely watched them.
Those videos did serve as a catharsis to people, and they realized, even though there was a lot of nitpicking in those videos, they're like, yeah, these movies are really shit. And I'm not going to say it was a dark time for Star Wars because even though the prequels sucked, we had fantastic video games that came out. The merchandise, for kids and collectors, they had everything. Kids could play with the toys, collectors could have their stupid shit to buy. And then even the cartoon that came out around the time, all this awesome stuff. Even though you don't like the prequels, the whole era was sick. And then around 2012, Disney bought them out.
I remember being so excited. We went to see
You're so happy
Phantom
that
Menace in theaters. Yeah. Oh my god.
Corporation purchased.
Because of course, it goes without saying we're huge fans of Star Wars, but I vividly remember going to my friend's birthday party at that time, and there was no movies out. If you like Star Wars, you like Star Wars. It didn't matter what you were seeing. But what we saw at the time was we saw the Phantom Menace in 3D, and I remember you and me talking, being so excited to be like, "Oh yeah, it's gonna be 2019, and we're gonna be seeing
Episode 6.
yeah,
or
episode
something
6
like
in
that.
3D."
Yeah.
I remember, oh, that would be so cool to see in 3D,
They
but
flushed that right down the fucking toilet.
yeah, just it's baffling just to imagine.
But like to some people, though, you gotta admit it kind of was a dark time because even though there was all this awesome shit coming out, like even though a lot of the lore was stupid, like a lot of the books that came out, like it was just so great. There was so much shit coming out. Like there was an era between. I mean, I wasn't alive, but there was an era between like 1985 and like 1995, like a 10-year era where there was nothing Star Wars related coming out.
Yeah.
At least like those people got stuff, but in terms of the movies to most people were shit.
I remember people freaking out over the Clone Wars, being like, "Oh, the Clone Wars is going to be so crazy."
I mean, it's a great show. It really is a good show.
Well, no, I mean the movie, and people are like, "Oh, this is going to be the biggest Star Wars movie."
Oh God, I
of all
remember we
time
were
or
down the
whatever.
shore, and I think we saw the movie or something, and
Yeah.
I remember we drove by the fucking Toys R Us, and there were people lined up for like the Midnight Madness, which they do at the Toys R Us, and like grown men and women lining up to buy Clone Wars figures for a movie they haven't even seen.
What's funny about that? I mean, this is a little off topic, but what I remember about that movie is that movie was hated because it was about them getting stinky or something.
It was
Jabba the Hutt's son.
Jabba the Hutt's
People thought was just dumb as hell.
disgusting looking son. Mm-hmm. It was a bad movie.
Yeah, but
the
people.
show,
I remember actually. Fun fact: we won a house party contest.
Yes, we did.
We were able to see the first episode of the Clone Wars TV show
We had a nice
about
swag
3
bag.
weeks before it came out. Yeah, we could probably sell some of that.
if we could fucking find it.
Oh yeah, we still have the promo disc of the Clone Wars TV.
But so then they announced The Force Awakens is coming out, and they're going to use a lot more practical effects. They're going to use, because in the original trilogy they used like mostly unknown actors. In the prequels they used like people that were already established, like Natalie Portman, Samuel L. Jackson, and they were so fucking boring. They had nothing to do in the movies whatsoever.
Yeah.
So just seeing fresh faces was good. People complained that he used too much CGI. George Lucas. I mean, so practical effects, new suits, all this cool shit was coming out, and the movie was going to be great. And this fresh guy, J.J. Abrams, was going to direct it, and I was hyped. Everyone was hyped. Not as hyped as Episode 1.
I remember as well. There was a person. There were memes going around. Everyone saying, "Oh, if this movie sucks, we're going to call J.J. Abrams Jar Jar Abrams."
Well, the first
stuff like
trailer, when the first trailer came out, those were probably the greatest movie trailers.
Yeah,
I've
you
ever
pulled
seen.
me in, and we have it on our giant
They were
iMac
so
hooked up to the
fucking
huge
good.
speakers.
We watched it like
I
50
sit down,
times.
dude. I see Finn for a second. I like physically jump back. Again, in retrospect, this is kind of stupid.
Silly.
Now that we're looking at a grown man who wrote.
Well, it's not as bad as the guy we're going to talk
Oh yeah,
about.
as we talked
In a
about the
little
previous
bit.
episode, but we'll talk about it again today.
Did we talk about him?
We did. Remember, we talked about a man who cries over Star
we'll
Wars.
go into detail about him.
But yeah,
I didn't cry at any of the fucking trailers, but some of the shots were great. The Millennium Falcon, it's even though it was things you already recognized, it was just great to see them again on the big screen. I've actually never seen Han Solo on the big screen before because I never got the chance to see the original trilogy. But that whole summer when that movie was coming out, it was hype. It wasn't as hype as Episode 1 because Episode 1 everyone went in blinded. Like people would walk in and pay like $10 to buy a ticket to like fucking meet Joe Black or Bug's Life just to watch a 30-second trailer. Now I wasn't alive back then, but like I autistically studied that shit. Like that's like a niche. Like I was obsessed with Episode 1 and Episode 2 hype culture.
Again,
we'll
do
another episode on.
We can go so
Episode 1.
long on just the hype for Episode 1.
That whole summer, I was hype as fuck, and I'm like, even if the movie's not perfect, I know it's gonna be a good movie, right?
I remember you.
Oh, I was hyped.
Specifically.
I was
you were
hyped.
first in line. We got the best seats.
Oh, wait, no, we're not there yet.
Okay.
So, see, now it's gonna be my podcast. I'm gonna talk so fucking much, but
Well, you're the Star Wars expert.
not really.
Yeah.
But that whole summer I read all the books and all the comic books because this was when Marvel, think got the rights for the comics back from Dark Horse. So I read all the comics. I was hyping it the fuck up. It was such a big movie. And I did the Midnight Madness bullshit. I bought the Black Series figures. I bought all this shit. Like I probably spent like $200 on all of it.
Yeah. You
Well,
definitely
compared to
did.
some people.
But, yeah, crazy shit. I remember the Black Series figures coming out.
They were
Of course,
cool.
anyone that's listening to this who isn't familiar with anything Star Wars will be completely out of the loop. But the Black Series figures are, I remember them coming out. They were a high-end style of figurines for the
6-inch
Star
detail
Wars. Yeah,
figures.
extremely detailed, use metal parts.
No, you're thinking about the Elite series.
Oh well, it was
No,
similar to that.
I actually ended up flipping those. I bought them from the Disney store because up till the movie they would release one a month, like from episode 1, episode 2, episode 3 until December, and I ended up flipping each one
Still
of them.
though, the Black Series was supposed to be high quality figures, highly collectible. Now the Black Series is on the
No,
clearance
some of them from like 2013, 14 are worth a lot. If you
Yeah.
have them in the old black
But
boxes,
still, today the toys from Solo, the toys from Last
jack
Jedi are
shit.
completely just. If you go to your local Target right now, I guarantee you'll see
80% off,
Black Series
at
toys
least.
complete clearance. It is insane. Nobody wants. What's the girl's name from Solo?
fuck do I know?
Exactly.
I don't
Nobody-
even remember
yeah,
that movie sucked.
Absolutely nobody can remember.
So let's
that.
let's talk about the movie. So we're hype as fuck. We're about to go see the movie. The crawl starts. Everyone in the theater is
It's
going.
cheering.
Fucking, I've never seen it. And the
I
longest,
remember
the longest line I ever saw for a movie. I've only ever seen a line going to a movie once, and
Yeah.
that was for Avatar, like 8 years before.
Mm-hmm.
I never fucking saw a line for a movie. Star Wars, everyone around the fucking block. Like, it stretched outside.
Yeah.
Never seen that.
It was huge. I remember you got there 3 hours ahead of time to get the best seats.
Oh, fuck yeah.
In the
I had
whole
my friend
area.
drive me.
That was that was just nuts.
I mean,
Like,
I wasn't gonna
eat-
be-
I didn't eat. That was when I finally, you know what? I said, this is how I'm not going to miss movies. This is my trick. You don't eat popcorn, you don't eat soda. Because if you eat popcorn,
You'll
your
piss a
mouth's going to
storm.
get dry. And then if your mouth gets dry, you have to drink more soda. And then you're going to have to miss a scene of the highly anticipated Star Wars movie. Which, again, during that screening, absolutely nobody got up. Nobody
No
wanted
one.
to see
Nope.
miss a single scene of that movie. That movie, like, whether or not you liked it or
Well,
not.
I wasn't gonna be like one of the people
Oh,
for like
yeah.
the episode 1 camping out fucking 30 days, but
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
for
it's-
3 hours for a
nuts.
movie.
3
I would
hours,
say if
yeah.
you get a good seat, hell yeah. And then
And-
I take my family.
I have photos. It was a huge.
You still
that
have
was,
photos
Yeah,
of it?
I do. It was
But-
a historical event, kind of. Whenever there's a Star Wars release,
I mean, it's just a movie, but
still,
you know
but
what I mean.
it's a big event. Like, I remember we saw Endgame this year, and Endgame they had people going there.
Not as-
No,
not
for
as
Force
big as-
Awakens
not
though.
as big as Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, I remember there's a backdrop. They said no costumes because the year before, a few years before, was the Batman shooting. So you're,
I
you're not allowed to.
At that.
No,
No, I'm
it's
just
not.
picturing like a Darth Maul guy
Oh,
in a
yeah.
costume going and fucking whacking people.
Well, anyway, though, you're not supposed to cover up your face with masks. People still went in.
People
They just it was
still-
Kylo
yeah.
Ren. People got excited for characters. They didn't even know what they were. Like, just like in
Well, it's
remember that movie,
blind-
the
blind
geek movie?
fandom.
Yeah, where the guy gets the tattoo of Jar Jar Binks. He's like,
fanboys,
yeah,
Seth
yeah,
Rogen.
Jar Jar Binks is gonna be the shit.
This
There's-
guy's gonna be the shit.
There's still, even though people have learned their lesson for the Phantom Menace, they're still getting excited for characters that do nothing, like Phasma, right? And Phasma does jack shit in the
Well,
movie.
wait.
They throw it down the trash compactor.
When you first saw it? What did you think about it?
When I first saw The Force Awakens, I remember thinking, wow, this movie's, the exact word I would use for it was great. And I remember laughing. I remember being enticed in the action. Like, there wasn't too much going on. The CG was fun. It was a little stale with the visuals department, but I remember all the quips being fun, organic. Seeing Harrison Ford for one last time was so much fun. And I remember, like, physically you could feel your heart drop when you saw Han Solo die.
Spoiler
That
alert
vivid-
for a
oh,
4-year-old
really?
movie.
Yeah.
Um,
That was a huge thing. I almost got it spoiled for me. That's the thing. With, like, a big movie like that, I just shut my phone off
oh
completely.
yeah, I didn't get it spoiled.
Because if you got it spoiled for you, you get
People
it.
who didn't like me try to spoil it for me.
Mhm.
Some kids at school who had my cell phone, but luckily my phone died. And as soon as the movie was over, I turned it on. I'm like, "Fuck you, bitch! I just saw it." But when I saw it, I absolutely loved it.
I did.
Well, I mean, walking out of the theater, even though it's a fictional character, I was bummed out Han Solo died, but I absolutely loved it. And of course, everyone fucking saw it the next day.
And everyone...
I took off school. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like close to like Christmas anyway, so I'm like, I took off school. I think it was like the last day before Christmas break. I saw it again the next morning with a friend. He loved it. I liked it better the second time around, actually.
Mhm.
But there was so much, there's so much good in it. Like when they find the Falcon, like I watched a
piece
guy
of
called
junk.
Fellow Greedo. And he's absolutely right. He's like, they could have had the Falcon in like this hangar, like glistening and all that, and it could have been like an artifact or what, like on a museum. And he's like, no, fuck that, dude. Like, it's a piece of shit to these people. To us, it's a big thing. But to them, it's a piece of shit.
Which I find
and
funny.
I like that mentality, but in The Last Jedi, they went a little bit too far with it. And now looking back at it, here, let's talk about Rogue One. So
I still to this day I love Rogue One. I don't like it as a movie. I like it as a event.
So it's like 2015, 16. Star Wars is back. The movie's great. There's a few people on the internet who really fucking hated it, but that's expected, right? Like
I remember when you were talking to that one kid. We're not going to name him, and he was like, "Yeah, I don't like them." Force Awakens, because there's people they were going to have gripes in their mind no matter what.
Oh, I had gripes too.
You know,
it's a Star Wars movie. You're going to
but
complain about shit.
they hate it for dumb shit. Like, don't get me wrong.
I hated
prequels
it. Why? It had the octopus creatures in it,
the
and I thought they were stupid.
You're like, what? Is that really going to be what you complain about?
Like, what else didn't you like?
Like, that's like saying, oh yeah, I liked, Avatar was a pretty good movie, but I didn't like the flying scene. Like, because the creatures look like, well, you can't hate a movie just because it's got a weird looking creature. Last Jedi is full of weird looking creatures. The majority of people were
like, this is awesome, this is great. Mm-hmm. And then a few months later, and Battlefront was out at the time. And even though that game is shit, the first EA Battlefront, I played the hell out of it. I had a bunch of fun playing it with my friends because it was the first, like, not even good Star Wars game. It was the first Star Wars game in, like, 10 years since, like, The Force Unleashed, which wasn't even a good game in its own right. I mean, I think before that, the last, like, there was, like, an MMO, which I was not a fan of, about the Old Republic. And then before that, there was, like, Battlefront 1 and 2. That's all I can think about. But I played the shit out of the new Battlefront.
Force Unleashed as well, but...
I mean, it's an okay game, but... And there was a goddamn Star Wars Connect, which we do not talk about. But, and then the Rogue One trailer comes out.
I'm Han Solo.
The Rogue One trailer comes out around like March, April, and I wasn't super stoked for it because I'm like, this is creative. That I like that they're doing stories in the Star Wars universe that don't involve Jedis and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I wasn't super hyped. And then the movie came out, and even my own friend, he's just like, "Oh yeah, like this is a Star Wars movie. I forget it came out that day." I always have my fucking Star Wars radar on, so I knew everything. I didn't get anything spoiled, but we saw it. And I think all you guys liked it, and I fucking hated it.
Last Jedi?
No, Rogue One. I'm like, this is shit. This movie is shit. And you're like, why do you think it's shit? And I'm like, couldn't pinpoint it. I'm just like, the character. I'm like. I guess the characters were boring. And then I watched it a second time in theaters, and I realized, I'm like, this is basically all the same shit we've already seen.
I'll tell you exactly why I enjoyed it. First, the scene at the very end where Darth Vader kills everyone was a good, fan service moment. As dumb as that sounds, but I laughed. The reason I liked the movie wasn't the characters. Don't get me wrong. That was a good scene. Funny, big, tall, black robot guy was pretty good.
Yeah, but then he has,
I enjoyed him.
That
was fun. Let me tell you, fun. Tall British robot guy was fun that I don't remember the name of. The characters were indispensable, which I loved. There's a certain... It's a event movie. It's something, if you didn't see the other movies, if you don't know about the culture, you will not enjoy the movie at all. I don't like it as a movie. It is a terrible movie. Don't get me wrong there. The characters are useless. It was off. Everything was offbeat, and I loved it. Because there were funky, funny aliens that I laughed at with my friend Ryan.
So fucking
stupid.
And
to quote my one friend, he said, "Listen, all you guys did, every single time there was an alien on screen, you laughed at every moment. Because there were funky CG creatures. That's all I want from a sci-fi movie. I don't care if it's got a good story. I don't care if it's a sci-fi movie. I don't care if it's a space movie. I don't care if it's about time travel if the plot's good. I just want funky aliens. That's something that Force Awakens was, First off, had no funky aliens.
Star Wars isn't a goddamn sci-fi. As weird as it sounds, it's
a
fantasy.
It's got funky aliens in it, though. Come on.
Jesus Christ. Shut the fuck up. We're talking about fucking Star Wars. It's a fantasy. It's a galaxy far, far away. There ain't no scientific bullshit in it. Which, I like scientific bullshit, but leave that to, like, Star Trek.
Funky alien creatures.
You said it 10 times.
Well,
All
no,
right.
I just mean, Force Awakens. We have
The characters were
we have
so fucking boring.
Force Awakens. We have Portion Man, and we have Maz Kanata, and they're pretty like bland. They're just like humans, but they're deformed. Like it's not anything too wacky there. And we have the Rathars, and they look like generic, alien squid creatures. There's no wacky aliens in it. And Rogue One, we got the giant frog man. We got the fat Mon Calamari, which we never get to see. We get a whole slew of just funky creatures.
I'm getting too angry. With
I know,
Star Wars.
it's just,
But, yeah, you guys still to this day like it. You admit it's a bad movie.
Oh,
though,
yeah, there's nothing good about
It's
it.
disposable characters. It's the same vehicles and shit we've seen. There's really nothing creative about it. They shove things in your face. And you're like, oh, here's a scene with C-3PO and R2-D2. People like that scene. I think it's corny beyond hell. Then there's like the obscure character with the butt face that attacks Luke. Like, why the fuck did he have to make an appearance? And even though I like that Darth Vader scene, you have to admit, like, it was fucking corny.
Yeah,
you have to
incredibly
admit.
stupid.
Dude, when he comes out, and this is a whole nother thing, when he comes out and it's James Earl Jones's voice and everything, he sounds so fucking old. That took me out of the movie. And then even though I thought it was creative to use whatever that face masking technology, I thought that was I thought that was kind of cool to see, but it would have been cool to see in like a demo. In the movie, it took me right out of the movie. Like I didn't understand what he was saying because I was so focused. I'm like, oh my god, is that real? Is that like, you know what I mean?
I really liked my popcorn in the movie. That was probably one of the best parts. Popcorn and laughing. Yeah, again, I'll say this:
shoving popcorn in your face.
Rogue One,
laughing
it's a guilty pleasure of mine.
Mm-hmm.
But Rogue One was pretty much Disney saying, "Okay, you guys thought it was, you thought Force Awakens was too bland. Well, here we are. We just bought Star Wars. Here's us flexing our Star Wars IP muscle." And they're like, "Yeah, here's R2-D2 and C-3PO. Yeah, there's the guy from the original movie. Yeah, we got Darth Vader in here, and he's killing rebel troops like you always wanted to see. We're throwing these AT-ATs and AT-STs. We're throwing all this cool crap in there. And look, there's Grand Moff Tarkin. Remember him? Like, there's not any substance. It's all for show."
Well, wait. So Rogue One comes out, and now people are like, okay, some people.
Rogue One.
We have a mutual friend who saw it 5 fucking times in theaters, which is around the same time I saw The Force Awakens.
Holy shit.
Nick.
Yeah.
Nick saw it 5 times.
They really
and
like
every
it?
time, to this day, he loves it. He fucking loves it. And to this day, I still debate him on it. And he's hard to crack with that one.
I mean, if you think about it, it's kind of like a 4-year-old wrote a movie. It's like, oh yeah, these guys are like the rogue squadron in the Rebels.
Sucked.
And then at the end, there's a big fight between the Stormtroopers and between the Rebels. And then at the very end, everyone explodes and dies. And then Darth Vader kills everyone.
I like that they killed them all off.
That was fun.
I like that they killed the characters off, but no one gives a shit about the characters.
Okay, get ready. This is trivia time. If there's anyone listening out there who is willing to comment on this video, or you yourself, can you name one character from Rogue One?
In all honesty,
I'm listening. Can you name any characters?
Only because I played them in Battlefront. Director Krennic and Jyn Erso. I don't remember the Asian guy who waved around the stick. I don't fucking remember his name. I don't remember the robot with the quips. I don't remember the fat guy with the gun thing. I don't fucking remember any of their names. They were so bland and so boring. And I said it 12 times, but
it's kind of like a Star Wars fan fiction, if you think.
And I know it's funny, honestly. Like people are like,
So
"Oh, it's so
lame.
gritty." I think they could have done a grittier Star Wars movie. I think we need like a rated R Star Wars movie that shows off like the war around that time. I think that would be cool as shit.
Like if they did the Boba Fett movie like that, made it rated R.
I don't think they ever will, but
No.
Can you imagine?
I remember you telling me there was
Could you
going to be a
imagine?
Shrek 5 that was going to be rated R. I got so mad at you when I found out
Well,
it was fake.
that's because you were exceptional.
You said it would be about Donkey's evil cousin. I was pissed.
All right, so Rogue One, it hasn't quite divided the fan base yet. People are still on the side of it. It's like 80-20, love it, hate it. And now we get to The Last Jedi, and everyone is hyped because we're about to see Luke Skywalker come back and kick some fucking ass.
Mm-hmm.
And the first trailer comes out, and the first thing everyone notices was, now it's time for the Jedi to end.
Ugh.
And I'm like, okay, well, they listened to us. I was optimistic. I'm like, they're taking Star Wars in a new direction. This is going to be sick. They're listening to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to make a different type of movie. And, same thing. I didn't, like, camp a line or any shit like that. We got our tickets in advance. We went to a theater this time with reserved seating. Thank God. But, that movie came out, and we all saw it, and I liked it I think I saw it like 4 times, but, it's the only movies I see twice in theaters are, like, Star Wars or maybe one of the MCU movies or something like that, but...
Yeah, I mean, Endgame...
I
remember I saw Infinity War like 3 times, just because that movie, it wowed you. And seeing the clips on YouTube didn't justify it. Seeing, the snap happen and everyone... It was a huge event, that movie. Force Awakens, when everyone, of course, the big scene everyone looked for online was Han Solo dies.
Yeah.
Rogue One, everyone dies, and people wanted to see the Darth Vader scene online. But when it came to The Last Jedi, I can't really think of any scenes.
I mean, like...
Anyone wanted to rewatch?
It was at the point where they were listening to fans. They hired a new... Okay, the guy they hired, his name was Garrett... No, not Garrett. That's worse. He directed Rogue One and, like, Godzilla. His name... What the fuck was his name?
I don't know what the guy's name is. I can't remember Star Wars names. I know
he
Han Solo,
directed,
Chewbacca, and R2-D2. Not Jen Erso or Krennic.
He directed... The guy who did this new movie directed... I should know his name. He directed only one other movie called Looper, and a lot of people like it. I saw it. I didn't like it at all. I saw it when it came out. I thought it was stupid.
Is this related to Zuber?
The fuck are you talking
Zuber,
about?
the new movie starring Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy and some random Indian actor, where, this Uber driver is going to be getting into wacky situations.
Is that a real thing?
Coming out this month. Have you not seen the trailers for
No,
that?
is that real?
It's called Zuber, yeah.
No, you gotta watch that.
Wait, so there's Luber, Zuber, and Meet the Zohan?
What? So, Last Jedi comes out. Did you hate it at first? Because the second time I saw it, I thought it was the dumbest fucking thing. And I'm like, this is them, taking people's complaints and just elevating it. And I guess they're trying to go in a creative way, but it felt like, and this is silly because it's a goddamn fucking movie, but it felt like they were disrespecting a legacy in a way. I know that sounds stupid.
Yeah.
I know, but... You know what I mean?
Because everyone's like, we want something
I mean?
different. And Disney took that and they're like, that means you want us to spit in Star Wars, right?
I mean, and it all started from, like, Luke Skywalker taking the lightsaber out and just throwing it over his head. I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. It means he doesn't give a shit about the Jedi anymore. But they did it in such a way where it was like it was supposed to be comedic. And this is supposed to be, And this is, again, why I think, even though they tried to be original, I think the movie's very unoriginal.
Yeah.
Because it is the poor man's Empire Strikes Back. It is.
And speaking of
it has
comedy,
all the beats.
Something that I really hate about, like, a lot of action movies today, or when you hire SNL cast. Of course, this is a big gripe that everyone had with Ghostbusters. The comedy in Force Awakens was like SNL not Force Awakens. Last Jedi was just...
It was bad.
Brand new SNL comedy.
And people are
so
like,
unfunny.
I like it when it's like, even in the original trilogy.
I like Porg though. That was a crazy creature that I enjoyed.
I like Porg.
That's the only thing.
I mean, I do like Porg.
Remember the madman who got Porg tattooed?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Before the movie came out, there was this couple. They bought like every piece of Porg merchandise. And him and his wife got Porg tattoos.
Oh god.
And I think Synth Cole, which is one of the funniest YouTubers out there. He did a video where he just freaked out about it.
Of course.
You should put that in the description.
A little off topic, but...
Wait, you're going to make me forget my thought.
No, keep thinking about your thought there.
All
but
right.
the two things I'll never forget. First, the Porg tattoos. And second, that motherfucker that got the Pickle Rick tattoo. I guarantee he regrets
It was around the
that
same
to
time
this
as
day.
Pickle Rick, I think.
Yeah. Oh, God.
But... Remember we went to, like, Disney World and, like, Star Tours? They changed it up and they added, like, the new planet?
Yeah.
And even back then, I'm like, that kind of looks cool. Like, but it's still the same AT-ATs. And, like, the new planet looked
and
cool.
The snow planet looks the same.
But it was goddamn Hoth.
Yeah, it's just Hoth, but red.
I mean, it was they tried to be original, but it wasn't original. And even though you don't have to add, new... hundreds and hundreds of new creatures.
Watch out, guy. There's evil BB-8.
Even though you don't have to add hundreds of new like robots and creatures like Lucas did in the prequels, give us something to be excited about. Like, don't give us a fucking AT-AT with like gorilla arms or what was it, Black fucking BB-8? Like, that's so
Yeah.
stupid. Like, at
Evil
least the
BB-8 guys.
prequels got people excited to buy shit because, like, there was nothing like the droidicas or name something like the spider droids. It's all this cool
Yeah,
shit.
the
The
prequel-
battle droids.
that was
George Lucas's
Yeah.
like wacky mind just spilling onto the paper, and hundreds of
Was
hundreds
Ralph
of artists.
McQuarrie involved or no?
I think he was dead by then,
no,
Ralph
yeah.
McQuarrie. But
It kind of looked like something that he would make almost. Like they were
I
creative.
think he took a lot of his designs, but a lot of, this is why I go back where I appreciate the prequels, because a lot of the prequel stuff was so fucking cool, even though it was stupid, and like they turned all the droids into like their own comedians, and like and like the droids, they get cut down like butter, so it doesn't, there's no suspense in the movies. They were cool designs, and as a kid I loved playing with those figures. But then you had the stupid shit like the Senate. Like, what are kids gonna do with the Senate figures? Have taxation meetings and all that?
Yeah.
Disrespect to any of the modern creature artists or designers or makeup people or whatever the hell, but a lot of the new things are fucking boring. Like, it's the same Star Destroyers, it's the same walkers, it's the same looking planets. The even the practical effects are boring. Like, and I love how they try to get away from the prequels. There's a whole scene in that movie where they go to a casino planet, and it's like prequel humor times 10. It's horrible.
Yeah,
it's
like,
horrible.
where
Like,
he
I
sprays the
couldn't
oil all
believe what I
over.
was watching. I couldn't fucking believe it.
Yeah, that was. I mean, I'll admit, I laughed at the extremely dumb scene where the coins go everywhere. I thought that was very funny.
Did
just
you really?
Just in a very ironic,
Like a big dum-dum.
sort
You
of
laughed
way.
out
Yeah, it was
loud in the theater.
yeah, I saw. There's scenes in movies. We're probably the worst audience to ever go, especially when we go with Ryan, because we laugh at the dumbest.
Well, no, I
shit.
try not to, and then when you guys laugh your asses off, and it makes me laugh my ass off.
Yeah,
And then people get pissed.
I remember this year. We were laughing at every scene. It was
Did I go with you?
Yeah, you did. It was too funny.
I think.
But I'm certain everyone laughed at that. Anyway, though, you continue.
Well, I just think that The Last Jedi kind of was like disrespectful to Star Wars and the legacy of it. And deep down, Lucas fucking hates it. And I think he hates The Force Awakens too.
Well, yeah, that goes without saying. I mean, his favorite movie's still the
I think
the
Episode
prequels.
1.
He still loves Episode 1. And Jar Jar is still his favorite character to this day. Which is just unbelievable.
He said that at one of the conferences. But yeah, I keep saying but what was I gonna say? Yeah, it's just there was a lot of stupid shit in it. A lot of the humor just felt really off to me. And the humor is not even my biggest fight about it, but you're trying to be like this serious movie. At least the humor in the original Star Wars, not laugh out loud. And this one they try to make it laugh out loud. But it's like C-3PO fighting with Han, and Han says like "shut up" or something like that to him, or like Return of the Jedi, like the Ewoks.
It was like a situational
it's
type of
situational.
humor.
It's natural. It's funny. Laugh it up, fuzzball. Like, it's funny. It's not laugh out loud, but it's you get a chuckle out of it, and that's all it needs to be. In the new ones, it's like they're fucking like set pieces. Like, you're not making Ted 3, you're making goddamn Star Wars.
Still, to this day, I do like Casino Alien that tries to get their
Yes,
coins.
that's your favorite
I thought
character.
that was a fun alien in
And I
that
want to
movie.
buy
I also
toy.
liked.
I want to buy a toy out of that alien.
Do they sell Milk Alien? That scene just felt so.
titty milk.
There's something that just felt so un-Star Wars. We could talk about this for like 30 minutes if we wanted.
The 30 seconds and the hundreds of hours that would have been
Seeing our hero, Luke, like so many people grew up with him. Seeing Luke Skywalker milk a freaking blue milk cow or whatever the hell that was.
He grabs the titty milk and
Yeah.
Oh, it was so bad.
If there's anything more on Star Wars about that movie, that's probably the most un-Star Wars thing I think I've ever seen.
And I thought Depressed Luke at first was cool, and I'm like, it's gonna be cool, but like it's predictable because you all know he's gonna get a redemption.
Yeah.
And I thought it was cool that like the girl's parents were no one instead of like being like these super secret Jedi masters or whatever the fuck. I thought it was cool that like
the people who made that movie, they got that idea from people reading Reddit comments.
Absolutely.
That's the only
Absolutely. And now that I think about it, I'm like, well, that's kind of cool, but you do all this shit that leads to nothing. It kind of leaves a very unfulfilling movie, and people will disagree with me about that, but we want to know, we like knowing things, like Snoke, like I kind of would have liked to know who he was, and
yeah,
Rey's parents were fine. The one thing that really gets me upset is you have Luke Skywalker, and sure, yeah, everyone's human, but did anyone really want to fucking see depressed Luke Skywalker?
I don't really think
And
so.
here's a big plot thing. Luke is supposed to be optimistic. He's supposed to be this courageous hero. And in Return of the Jedi, when Vader uses the Force mind link or whatever to pinpoint Luke's location to Endor, and Luke's about to fuck it up for everyone, right? Luke could have ran away and led Vader in a different path, and it could have been like a big hunt. But Luke went right up to Vader's fucking face, the second most evil man in the galaxy, and he tried to turn him back.
Yeah,
to get the good. That's the Luke Skywalker I know. But in the new one, like he senses that Kylo Ren might be evil, so he tries to kill him in his sleep. That is fucking bullshit. That is bullshit.
I agree.
Bullshit.
You know what? I feel like these people. Maybe he saw the Star Wars movies when he was younger. I mean, if you're directing a Star Wars movie, I think you should rewatch every single movie all the way from the beginning. If you're gonna put that much time and effort into the movie, this guy didn't even play the Lego games to understand. If you played the Lego games, you would understand that Luke had a heart. That's his whole character, is that he wanted to redeem the man he thought was the most evil person in the universe, the main antagonist for the whole series, for the most part, of the first two movies. And he's redeeming this man. Oh no, but this kid is starting to be, he's giving me a wrong look. Better kill him right now.
And I want to say
it's not like him.
I don't hate the new characters. I don't hate the majority of them. I don't think they're as great as the original trilogy characters. And let me say this, I think the acting from what are their names? The girl who plays Rey, Daisy Ridley, guy who plays Finn. I think they're really good actors. I think they're fantastic. Yeah. I've seen other movies and stuff with them. But, you can't touch the grit of Harrison Ford or the badassery of Carrie Fisher or the courageousness of Luke Skywalker. They all, it's going to sound weird, but they all kind of blend in to be like the same character, like Rey and Finn in a way.
Yeah.
And then whatever the fuck that character Rose was.
Oh,
now, I got to say this. That character, the woman who played her, I don't know her name, she got some heavy abuse.
Oh yeah,
from like how the guy who played Jar Jar Binks tried to
yeah,
she got it pretty bad too, because they would go on like her Wikipedia page and they changed it to her real name
racist
to
stuff.
like Ching Chong Ding Nut. Like, that's fucked.
That is
fucked. Funny, but it's fucked. And even though they're celebrities and they can take a hit, it's just wrong to do. I guess.
Again, everyone feels sorry for Jar Jar Binks.
I thought her character sucked shit. I thought Rose.
Oh yeah,
way worse than
super
Jar Jar,
lame.
But it's not her fault. It's the script.
Oh yeah, it was just poorly written. Again, as much as I hate to keep bringing up and praising the gods of red letter media,
they are the kings.
It feels like it was written. Remember the thing, the Vietnam War Memorial? It feels like the whole movie, because the movie was written in a boardroom. They said, "Oh, let's do this." It's character.
Very, very.
It wasn't written by a single person.
It's very glossy. It's very corporate, and I understand they're like, oh, if we have Luke Skywalker come out with a green lightsaber and mow down the whole Empire, then it's going to be so predictable. But, his redemption kind of was predictable too. I thought the Force Ghost thing at first, the projection thing at first was cool. And then the more I think about it, I'm like, you're really going to have this fucking awesome, one of the greatest characters of all time in cinema go out like a bitch. I mean, we don't know if he's dead, fine. But you're going to have him go out like a bitch?
Yeah, it's stupid.
Like, I get it. He's supposed to be
him.
A symbol, and he's supposed to be a distraction. Oh, and then the girl, like, all that time they spend, all she can do is, like, lift rocks.
Yeah.
That's really bad.
I will say this. Do you have any more negatives to talk about before we start getting to the positives?
And I've been going all over the place, but the positives about
I would like to start off with a few of my positives. Just let me speak for a moment.
Go ahead.
The first one, that scene, I love the scene when they fire at Luke. And Luke, he's like, fire everything you got. I thought that was awesome. But then you find out he's a Force ghost and he used all his energy. And that undercuts it. Like, that scene right there, if Luke just, killed everyone, that would have me off. That would be like, oh, that's so cool. I mean, there's the character. I
can't write better.
Someone
honestly,
I thought that would
but
be nice.
You know deep down they could have wrote that better.
A few things I thought that got kind of interesting. I liked how they were like, oh no more Rebel and Empire when they had the character DJ come in. But then again, just even thinking about him, I'm gonna say this word again, DJ, the whole existence of
character's
don't
he's-
join.
he's an
he
awesome
gives me
actor.
douche chills.
He's an awesome actor.
That gives me douche chills. I'll be honest there. I'm not sure if I'm using that right, but I hate the existence of that character. I haven't thought about him for about 3 years, but thinking about it now, I hate it. Don't join. But I like the idea that they were gonna do something different in like a cool way. But no, they completely throw that out of the window.
Same boring Empire shit. Like wouldn't have been like that would have been fucking great if Rey joined.
Yeah, the
Kylo Ren and they
Empire
started
or
killing
something.
people.
Or maybe
That would've
the
been
Empire
awesome.
was maybe the First Order were the good guys or something. That'd be something interesting to see. For once, I don't know. I just
It was.
I wish it wasn't the whole retired because everyone's
And then
afraid.
there were so
Nobody
many stupid fucking scenes. Like
nobody
the
wants the
Casino Planet,
stupid Sith
and then
versus
BB-8,
Jedi stuff.
BB-8 like saves the day, and it like took me back to like episode 3 when
Yeah.
R2-D2's like setting oil and shit
Yeah,
on
so
fire.
stupid.
Like it's really
Again,
bad.
we're talking about the positives here. I like the porg comedy with Chewbacca. I like how he literally wanted to
that
eat. He
was a
wanted to
great
eat the
scene.
porgs.
My favorite scene.
That was pretty funny. No, he is eating a porg, isn't he? And then the porg is like, "What are you doing
Well,
there?"
You know what should have been in the movie, and they
What?
you know, Han Solo is, and I see them both as the greatest characters in cinema.
Mhm.
You can say the guy from To Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, he's a good character.
I don't think he is. Come on, he's boring.
Indiana Jones beat up fucking Nazis. All right, he's a good guy, but you know, to give him like a 10-second scene where like he mourns, like they should have kept something like that in where Luke cries, like how emotional that it made the audience. And there is a deleted scene like that, but I think it should have been like kind of longer than that because it's fucking Han Solo. You know,
Miserable.
and now it's a mess because Carrie Fisher is. I thought Carrie Fisher was great in The Last Jedi, even with that dumbass scene.
Even though
I
she
liked that
died.
scene. I did like that scene. She should have been the. Everyone agrees. She should have been the sacrifice. She should. Oh God, she should have been the one to suicide.
Is she
bomb
gonna
the
be in the
ship.
new movie?
I mean, yeah.
I don't know. They just dropped her off the planet. Like what? What?
I mean, she's
was
dead.
that after she died? When did they make that decision?
No, I
They're just
think
like,
she
we're just
filmed-
gonna drop her off on the planet.
No, she filmed a bunch of her scenes, I think, but I don't think she got it all done. But
Oh yeah, they said they're gonna stitch together a plot for her, which
some
is just
bullshit. It's the same thing as I guess like Don Rickles in Toy Story 4, where he says like 10 things. You know what I mean?
oh,
Where they
God.
use his old voice lines. You know, I loved Carrie. I like Carrie Fisher's role better than fucking Mark Hamill's in the new movie.
It
Honestly,
was lame.
She
Even
was
Mark
great.
Hamill hates it, and
Mark Hamill fucking hates it.
Yeah.
George Lucas fucking hates it. Harrison Ford doesn't care. Carrie Fisher probably didn't care. Now she's dead. You know, looking back at that, it was a mess of a movie, and it pissed off. It's kind of funny but annoying at the same time because then you see like both sides of the spectrum. Because the people who hate it, like us, are really fucking annoying people.
Yeah.
But the people who love it might even be more fucking annoying, like the Reddit.
oh
Like,
yeah, the whole Reddit community.
They're both really fucking bad. I've seen both, and they're really bad. And I'm gonna stay on the side that I hate it. I don't like the movie. I think it's a pile of shit
yeah.
with a few redeemable qualities. Looking back at it, and then after I saw this, it made me think, and it made me dislike Rogue One a lot more, and it made me go back, and I still appreciate The Force Awakens for what it was because it had to be a movie that reestablished the franchise, but it's not excellent.
And now
Rogue One's not excellent.
Now for my favorite part.
Solo.
We're not even gonna talk about
Oh,
Solo.
we got.
Do you
Come on,
wanna
we gotta talk
Solo?
about because I.
It was
fucking-
lame.
You
It
think
was
I
lame.
hated Last
Okay.
Jedi? I fucking hated Solo.
See, Solo was so bad. We were talking about Star Wars. This whole podcast is supposed to be about Star Wars.
Am I saying
I completely forgot about it.
Am I
It
saying the
completely
F
passed
word
my
too
mind.
much?
Yeah, I don't care if
I
you say
think
the
so.
F word. It's
I'm just
Solo.
getting-
It's something
I'm
to be
getting
passionate
mad about a goddamn corporate franchise.
I don't even want to talk about Solo, just for the fact
You don't wanna?
I don't like the existence of it.
You wanna
I
talk?
thought it. I heard about it 3 years before it was made. I said, why would you want a movie like that? The whole point of the character is he's a mystery. It's just
Leave
like,
that to the books. And
yeah,
all that
you're
crap.
well. No, even we shouldn't have books that make it canon. The whole point is you're supposed to make up the backstory in your head. You're
It's-
like,
it's
oh, what
kind
are
of
these
like-
crazy adventures? We don't know. That's the fun part.
It's kind of like the Joker, in a way, where any story where they try and give the Joker backstory, I
sucks.
hate it. Like the 1989 Batman movie, like they give him a backstory. The Dark Knight, dude comes out of nowhere. They give him like all these DNA tests. They search him. They can't find anything. That's the Joker I love.
Yeah.
Just some lunatic that pops up out of the blue. Not comparing Han Solo to a lunatic, but same as Indiana Jones. Like, you like having a mystery around them.
Yeah.
And if you really want to learn, you read the books and whatever the fuck.
Even still to this day, though, even George Lucas himself, the man of terrible decisions, of 90% terrible director's choices, even he knew for a fact George Lucas did not need a backstory. I mean, Han Solo did not need a backstory.
George Lucas's Star Wars story.
Oh, God.
It's going to be him at that hamburger
Han
shop.
Solo does not need a backstory. You know who I'd rather learn about? I'd rather learn about the George Lucas Blue cameo family than learn about Han Solo's backstory. Because he's a mystery. That's the whole point of the character. That's the fun.
Well, I feel like the
corporates at Disney just saw a pocket for money, and they failed. They didn't make any money.
You know what? I think we do have to talk about Solo, because we have to talk about the boycott that happened.
Yeah.
So the fan base is divided. I said, 80-20 after Rogue One. Now it's like 70-30. 70% of the people just fucking hate it. Critics still loved it. And, it's fine with them. People can love it. I'm not going to judge them. But...
Well, I mean, they got their swag bags, though.
They got their swag bags.
They got the Funko Pops, as we all love.
The Funko Pop with Luke, with the Luke dying on the rock.
Speaking of which,
but
I'm gonna cut you off really quick.
No, we're not talking about Funko Pops.
I know.
No.
There's absolutely nothing less valuable. You could literally give me a jar of dirt.
It'll be less.
That to me
more valuable than a Last Jedi Funko Pop.
Yeah, all those resellers, they're selling those Last Jedi. They're selling anything Solo related is just absolute garbage. Like E.T. where they had to bury it in the Nevada desert or whatever. It's much worse.
No, it's funny. Those E.T. carts
so
are worth
much
money
shit.
now. Those
Really?
ET carts are worth a few hundred, I think.
The ones that are actually buried,
because
right?
they're historical.
That's so stupid.
I guess.
But the Solo stuff. Disney was so excited. They thought they were going to make so much money. Everyone knows Han Solo. Everyone's going to go out and see the movie. Nobody saw the movie. Nobody bought the merchandise.
The actor was fine. He
did a good Han Solo.
No, I don't think he was anywhere near as Harrison Ford. I
really like Chewbacca in the movie. Oh.
Well, no, people boycotted that movie, and I think it did make its money, but in terms of marketing and everything, I think it lost them 80, 90. I don't know. It lost them a few million. It lost them a little bit. And at that point, Bob Iger and the board, they're all just like, yeah, we got to calm down on these goddamn Star Wars movies, or we're going to... Because Marvel fatigue was about to hit, and then the movies just became, really fun. Phase 3. They just became awesome.
Yeah, I remember...
Star Wars fatigue hit hard as fuck.
I go up to anyone, you know what, maybe next time, where I'll sneak something in at the very end, there's some bonus content... I'll go find random people on the street. I'm going to interview them. I'm going to ask what they think about Star Wars today. Whether they're excited, whether they want to see another Star Wars. Because I don't know anyone. There's a handful of people that are excited about these new movies that aren't little kids, of course. There's a few that
still are. I guarantee you'll ask people, and they still will. But, I used to work at retail jobs, and every time someone would come in, this was before The Last Jedi was out, and they were all like, yo, I'm so excited to see this. Grown men or little kids or college kids or even women. Everyone was excited. And then it came out, and then I would ask, are you going to see Solo? Nah, I'm going to pass. You're going to pass in a Star Wars movie?
That's unheard of.
What?
If you told me...
I didn't even want to see it. I'm like, I'll see it a different day. And I saw it, and I'm like, it's going to be kind of shitty. Maybe I'll get a few fun moments out of it. I fucking hated it.
I'll tell you what. If you told me 3 years ago that the Star Wars movies that Disney would make would suck, I would believe you, because it's now from what we've seen, it's kind of difficult to make a Star Wars movie that most people will like.
Not true.
They're held to a different standard.
I disagree
nowadays.
entirely, and that's one thing I disagree with our RLM friends, because they say that where can you go with I don't know if they were being sarcastic. I have to rewatch whatever they said, but where can you go from the Empire and all that to where people still see it? I think there's tons of cool shit that could still bring people in. Maybe they're not going to be $1 billion blockbusters anymore because you hurt the brand, but they're still going to make a few $100 million. Cause,
oh yeah, of course.
Dude, an Old Republic movie. I heard rumors of that, or I guess a Boba Fett movie would be kind of cool. Just do creative shit like Scoundrels or Scrappers or Smugglers. Do a movie
side
on that.
Stories, yeah.
The Han Solo movie was supposed to be a criminal. It was tame. It was boring. It was silly.
I know you hate Rogue One, and you're gonna swear by hating Rogue One.
Always will.
But one thing Rogue One did do right is they focused on characters that didn't matter. They did something new characters,
No, but
new
you
ideas.
have to. You can't have a movie with characters that suck.
Well, yeah.
Unless you're doing like an artsy fucking film. No, this isn't an artsy film. You're doing a Star Wars movie. I want new characters to care about. I want to go out and buy toys of the. Well, no, I'm not because I'm a fucking man. But
I like the character development in Eraserhead better than I did.
like, dude,
than
when
the
Guardians of the
character
Galaxy came
development
out, Guardians of the
Solo.
Galaxy came out. I loved all like 5 or 6 of those
Yeah,
characters.
yeah, I could name
I
them.
want to go out and buy all those toys. Like, I want to have like a Groot on my shelf, and they were all great. You know, the new Star Wars. I'm like,
It doesn't excite me. And people
No.
can talk about the MCU as much as they want, but I remember
love the MCU.
I saw Guardians of the Galaxy. That did a sci-fi space adventure
was
movie. It was, again,
better
if
movie.
you think about
Better movie than The Force Awakens.
If you think about it, it's like Star Wars. They have the same character dynamics. They have the Chewbacca.
it was just more. It was just more.
They have
fun,
the Rocket
though.
Raccoon. It's Han Solo. They have the Luke Skywalker, but he's dumb. It's kind of the same format almost right there, but they did something different, something fun. They could take, if they had the people working on Star Wars like they had the people working on the MCU movies, we would be seeing a whole different landscape. Disney would be making a lot more money with Star Wars than they are now.
And you know, it is based on how good the movie is and how excited people get for it. And at this point, as I said, the only people getting excited for it are like, I don't want to use the term. Do I have to use it?
You can use
Soy boys.
Which
The
we're gonna get to
one-
in
the
a
one
moment.
guy.
We'll get
The
to this
one
in a
guy.
moment. But I did want to tell
I was
That
just
guy.
watching it. At first, when I saw it, I hated it, and now like, this is the funniest goddamn thing.
You know how people look at themselves in a mirror? Like when they want to lose weight, it's like encouragement. That's just encouragement to be a better person right there by watching that every day.
I love the top comment. Like the guy in the video mentions, he goes, "Yeah, I'm at a hotel with me and my wife, and it's a fucking 2-bed hotel." And the guy top comment, he's like, "The jokes just write themselves at this point." Like,
Well, we'll get to something here. And this is something that I'm glad... I'm going to say this started with Star Wars and then started with with Ghostbusters and James Rolfe. And I'm going to say,
commend
I'm
him.
glad. James Rolfe said, Ghostbusters looks terrible. I just
for
don't
those
want
of
to
you
see
that
it.
for those of you that don't know, James Rolfe is one of the internet pioneers.
Yeah.
And he created a show called The Angry Video Game Nerd, which isn't even his best show. He's made some really good horror movies. He's made Monster Madness, where he goes and talks about horror movies and stuff. He's really not, you know.
He's not a huge film buff, but...
No, yes, he is.
I don't mean he's not
a huge
he's not the
film
best
buff.
critic in the world.
He's not. If I'm gonna watch someone in terms of criticism, I'm not gonna watch him. I'm gonna watch
But
him.
he's like a sponge
the
for
things he
knowledge. He
creates.
knows a lot about what
He
he
knows-
talks
yeah.
about, and he's passionate about it. But what I'm going to say is when he did Ghostbusters, I remember he just said, you know what, the movie looks bad. I'm not going to watch it. He got all this backlash. But people followed what he said, and the movie flopped financially. There's toys, just like Solo. That was the first
Well,
instance.
You can't
people
say it was
said,
because of him.
well, no. But people in general said, we don't want to see the movie. We're not going to
like,
pay. He started something there.
But
you cannot deny
you,
that.
You can say, like, why did you have to come out and see it? Well, Ghostbusters is like his favorite movie ever. And instead of just being bugged 1,000 times through the email, like maybe, you know, he doesn't want to get thousands of emails. When are you going to read the new Ghostbusters? When are you going to do that? He's like, I'm just going to make a video saying I'm not going to watch it because it looks like shit.
And I completely commend that. And people, they picked up on that. And I don't know if he got the ball rolling or something. But now there's a thing in Hollywood. People are seeing movies they don't want to see, and they're not going to see it. I know people, biggest MCU fans in the entire world. They saw Captain Marvel, they saw Brie Larson, they said, this movie kind of looks like shit. And the movie was shit, in my opinion.
It was shit.
But, I mean, that was kind of the general consensus. But people didn't see it. They didn't put their money there.
As I said,
It's,
like, in terms of that, though, like, both sides get on my nerves. Like, the people who defend it,
Oh, yeah.
and they think that it was created for social justice reasons. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like, Red Letter. Oh God!
Don't
What
get me wrong,
Red
there
Letter
was
Media
pandering.
said.
There was pandering
Yeah,
in that
but like
movie,
they think that it was created for social justice, and like there was all these GoFundMe's to send little girls to see the movie, and the money ended up just going right back in Disney's pocket.
It makes no sense at all. I'm Ellen. Hi guys, Ellen here. Donate $30,000 so I can voluntarily pay for someone else's ticket to see Captain Marvel.
Well, then you have the people on the other side that make. I remember people just making like 20, like some dude made 20 fucking videos a day. Fuck Brie Larson, she's a piece of shit. She's a, and I'm like, dude, like, fine, you're getting clicks, but Jesus Christ, like,
Yeah.
shut up.
I couldn't care for that, too much.
Just don't
but,
fucking see it. Like, unless she said I'm gonna go fucking decapitate babies or
yeah. But
you know, like, leave her alone.
That's what's happening. People see the movie, they say, this kind of looks like shit. They're not paying to see it. They're voting with their wallet, which I like. I commend that. And that's what I feel like more people should be doing. Now, idiots like us, we go out to see every movie under the sun. If they make Goonies 2, don't get me wrong, we'd be out there to go see that immediately.
They'll never make Goonies 2. I think you know why.
I guarantee if we Google it,
I think you know why. It'd be too politically incorrect.
Hey, you guys.
Hey, you guys.
Actually, now that they definitely can't make Goonies 2. They'll say it's fat phobic because he's gonna do.
You're thinking of
No,
fat
phobic. I know what you're talking about. But I could just see how it's like a Spielberg-esque type of movie where it was kids with guns, like that sort of thing. It's like kids cursing and having a fun time.
I like having kids on bikes.
Mm-hmm. Like that kind of movie.
Are we done bitching about Star Wars? Star Wars sucks now. Hopefully they fix it in the future. Oh, should we talk about the Episode 9 trailer? How fucking boring.
Yeah, listen, I was
so
gonna say,
fucking
this is how
boring.
we wrap it. No, we're not even going to talk about that. We're going to talk about something extremely... Now, again, I'm not passionate about Star Wars. I have nothing to get excited about anymore.
Oh, you were a big Star Wars fan. We all are.
Exactly.
Well, listen, should I talk about Battlefront?
No, we'll talk about Battlefront another time. This is probably the biggest thing in the state of Star Wars that pisses me off. Now, we're going to be talking about the few people that still cling and are still obsessed with Star Wars.
We just did.
No, we didn't. We didn't talk about... Okay, I guess we did.
We
talked about that guy.
The fucking, like...
But still, that guy, he picks up the video and he starts crying about it.
I think Medicare went after him.
Me.
Medicare was so funny.
That was funny.
Jim was so good.
Anyway,
I mean, but he's just an idiot on the internet, like, crying at a fucking movie trailer, like...
Mm-hmm. It's baffling. And now
you get a good chuckle out of it. I mean, there's people making their livings doing shit.
And
like
next
that.
time when we do a Disney podcast, we'll talk about.
I think the most emotional I got at like a trailer. I guess when like Kingdom Hearts 3 came out, I was like, no, when the trailer came out, I was in like 8th grade or something like that. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But I was like, yeah, Kingdom Hearts, and I'm like, even that's too far just to say that.
Yeah.
Like Banjo-Kazooie, you stopped me when he got announced for Smash. I'm like, yeah, Banjo. You're like, dude, shut up. You're not those people. And I'm like,
God.
yeah.
Well, to wrap it up today,
Star Wars sucks. I hope they fix it. Enjoy the landfill.
Yeah. Now we can sit back and watch as history is made, and one of the biggest franchises is turned into absolute fucking garbage.
Hey, man, be optimistic.
Amen.
Be optimistic. They'll fix it.
Thank you for joining us.
They'll start
Thank you for listening. I couldn't care if they fix Star Wars or not.
They will. They're gonna do it.
Star Wars is dead to me.
Most people aren't optimistic. They're gonna do it. They're gonna
Star Wars is dead to us.
No, it's not.
Okay, it's not dead to you. It's dead to me.
Are we gonna do an original trilogy podcast and a prequel podcast?
We'll do one on both of those.
Dude,
no,
I could fucking go.
I can't get excited for Star Wars. I have Star Wars dysfunction. I don't know.
Star Wars erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, pretty much. I can't get excited for Star Wars.
You want to do a nerd crew?
Oh boy. Okay, that wraps it up for today. Thank you so much for joining us on the Expedition Suburbia podcast. We'll see you next time when we talk about AIDS.
AIDS?
Yeah. Freddie Mercury podcast.
All right.
Catch us next time.
Peace out.